Hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. Welcome back to CNU on the Lawn, your only source of CNU perspectives from a couch every other week. I'm Wyatt.
And I'm Andrew. And this week's episode is brought to you by the maintenance staff. Next time you see a maintenance worker, say thanks. They do a lot around here, and half the time, they don't even get noticed.
Yeah. This week's episode, we have a very special guest. Let me read you her official title.
Oh.
CNU alum, Bonner Service Scholar, former honor roll student at Woodside High School, and the current queen of res life, the one, the only, Miss Keontae Epps.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you all for having me on here as well. This is very exciting to be on the CNU on the Lawn and be a part of this. When you all reached out to me, it was something that I definitely could not turn down. And so I'm looking forward to having this conversation with you all tonight.
Awesome.
That's awesome. We're really excited too because if it wasn't obvious by our attire, and you know this, Keontae, but we actually are both RAs on campus. So
Yes.
When we started this, we were like, gosh, who's somebody we want on here? Keontae.
100%.
So,
Shout out to Wilson, 4th floor.
yeah. Oh, and York, 4th floor. So.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your role with Res Life.
Currently, within my role within Residence Life and Housing Administration, I serve as the Assistant Director of Residence Life Operations and Student Staff Development. So within that, I have the opportunity, what I like to say, to be able to work very closely with our student staff. I oversee all of our hiring, our training, and just everything within that to bring in people like y'all. So being able to have the opportunity to connect. One of the things I would say is like a highlight of my role is being able to collaborate with, honestly, my colleagues when it comes time to hire or really bringing in RA training. That's really my bread and butter. I love being able to have the students come back to campus in August and come back early, and then see them be immersed in the role and have some fun. But I'm sure we'll be able to talk about some things of what I feel are like highlights of being an RA. And I was also actually an RA myself. So proud alumni of CNU, kind of talked about that in my bio.
Yeah.
I had some other things, but I was also a resident assistant for 3 years while I was here too.
Yeah. What were some of the challenges or best parts of being an RA here at CNU?
Ooh, okay. So I'll answer when I was a student, and then I'll talk about maybe where we are now. So let me think about it. I would say for me, when I was a student, now of course times are a little bit different. So this was definitely before COVID. And so thinking about that, one of the challenges I would say first and foremost is when I was coming in new. So my first time being an RA was in 2015. I really didn't know anything about the role. I just knew I wanted to help others, and I wanted to be a part of something that was bigger than myself. But being immersed in it, I recognized and realized, okay, I was kind of heavily involved. So I need to think about maybe my time management. And so I would say early on, that might have been like that challenge for me of the time management piece, figuring out and how to prioritize different things. And then also sometimes when you have residents that may not follow or uphold the policies of the university and residence life, that can be impactful, right? Where you're like, okay, I got to come and have this conversation with you. You already know what's expected. Why are you not doing what you're supposed to do? But I had to realize, and it's kind of hard at that time when I'm a student too, of realizing developmentally where they are, they just don't know. And so I'm learning with them. So sometimes that was a little bit of a challenge where it was like, I'm growing and learning with them too. But in the end, it actually turned out to be something that was a very positive outcome, because with us growing together, I was able to learn so much. I was able to grow too. And then my challenge turned into something that actually was a positive, what I like to say, like a triumph, something that I could consider like a victory.
Nice.
Yeah.
So were you in a variety of communities when you were an RA, or
Yes.
just the same?
Yes. So for me, what I love about CNU, and is honestly very different than other institutions, is that we are heavily population based. So one of the things is a lot of people may or may not know, but if you're a student here, you definitely should know, we are a residential campus. So I love the fact of that intentionality that we allow our students to be guaranteed to be here on campus for at least 3 years. But we have many of our students stay on campus for that 4th year because they just enjoy being immersed in the culture, being immersed in engaging with their friends and going to different classes and being so close to different resources on campus. So for me, when I was an RA, my first year in 2015, I was in James River. Okay, so JR. And I was in a theme unit.
Oh,
y'all know what a theme unit is? Okay, do y'all know? Okay, y'all know. Okay, now hold on. Y'all giving a bad rep to theme units.
Okay, sorry.
I would say a theme unit, actually, it was my favorite year of being an RA.
Okay.
Not to, showboat or anything, but I got RA of the year during that time. Clap it up for me.
Wow.
Thank you. But with that, I was in a theme unit. So that's a sophomore population, James River Hall. And then my second year, I actually returned back to James River Hall. So I was there again for a second year. And again, second year community, sophomore community. And then my third year, that's when I was able to make it out, is what I like to say. And I went to one of the populations in our upper level community, and I was in Rappahannock. Yeah, so it was nice to be able to have that apartment style living. I had my own kitchen and everything as well. Only had one suite mate. So we really had a nice space. Not as nice as this, so y'all did a good job.
Thank you.
But we had a nice space and everything to be able to live in and just share that kitchen. But I think that for me was something I really loved with the different populations. You have the opportunity to have different amenities that you may have as an RA, depending on the population you're in.
So how many suite mates did you get to bring in when you were an RA in JR, in that theme unit? And then again, when you came back?
So in JR, so the way it works, like one of the great things about being an RA is that every RA across campus, they're going to be able to live in their own room. So you never share your room. So you don't have a roommate at all as an RA. So that's a great perk, part of compensation.
Sure is.
The other thing with it though is that you may have the opportunity to have a suite mate. So in my opinion, I think it was great in that sense where I was in JR. I didn't have a suite mate per se that I was able to choose, because in the theme unit, the unique thing about it is that we offer theme units out where students have the opportunity to select that housing, whether they have like a similar organization or interest or something or an involvement, and then they're putting that in to say, hey, we want to live in this theme unit together. So I actually was placed in a theme unit where the group was already created. And so within that, I was really coming in to get engaged with them. And so that theme unit at the time, their theme was LGBTQ plus community, and then also having some English majors that were involved within that, and then having like a computer science focus. But really, there were a bunch of gamers. So that's what it turned out to be. But it was a cool experience to have and be able to get to know them. And I'm actually still friends with many of them today. One of them even had invited me to come to their wedding. And I was like, wow, and two people actually in that theme unit, they were getting married. That wasn't the wedding I was invited to, but they were getting married. And so I think that was really cool to have that. So the only year I was able to bring in a suite mate was when I was in Rappahannock, my third year, but I actually went random. That's another opportunity that RAs have too, is that if you are going to have a suite mate, you can choose your suite mate if you would like to, but if you don't, that's okay. You can go random. And so with that, I went random, and honestly, it was a great experience. I already have my team and my staff that I'll get to know and know as well, get to know your residents. So for me, I like to really have openness to where I can make more connections and not just be surrounded around people I know. So that's something that I enjoyed. So that's why I went random.
Yeah, I think on the other side of that, I'm over on East Campus. I have two suite mates myself. I picked them. I brought them they lived with me last year, and there was some comfortability there. And so it felt like, I'm in charge of over 50 residents. And so it felt like bringing that sense of comfortability, which just kind of like helped the transition to being an RA. This is my first year as an RA. It's been great so far.
You've been doing great.
Thank you. I wasn't going to say it about myself. But,
so have you, Andrew. So have
thank you.
Been doing great.
but yeah, it's been really great to, kind of help residents with their transition. I'm with upperclassmen, so their transition to more of adulthood from kind of those early college years. I know I've got friends that are with underclassmen that are, super psyched about being able to like help bring in a new class of freshmen. So there's a lot of great learning experiences through being an RA. Yeah. Now, what about either the RA experience or your CNU experience led you to work in Res Life here?
Yeah, so with that, within my profession, so working within higher education and currently within student affairs, the main thing that you'll hear that's like a saying is that people really don't get involved in student affairs unless they met someone that's working in student affairs that told them to get involved in student affairs. I feel like I just said student affairs a lot, but with it, I'm sure you're following. Yeah. So within that, when I was a student back in 2015, and being here and being a part of Residence Life for 3 years, so I graduated in 2018, or I like to say I was a proud fifth year because I had some major changes going on. I had met someone that was working within the office of, at the time, it was just known as Residence Life. And he was telling me hey, so maybe you should think about a grad program. And I was like, a grad program doing what? And he was like, doing what I do. I said, that's a real job? Like, you have to go to school for that? And for me, I was like, I know you're in the position, but a lot of times when you're a student, you may not think that that's actually like a profession. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't think about it in that way of like, oh, this is like really a career path. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. I was just, okay, you here. All right, you're doing this, you enjoy it, cool. But it came out to be something I was like, no, this is really a career path and you can go to school for this. But then there was also some benefits to that where you can go to grad school and not pay for your grad school. The school can actually cover your tuition for you. And then you also can even have what's known as an assistantship where potentially you're working at that university in maybe a student affairs office to where you can gain that experience. And so that's exactly what I did. Once I graduated from CNU, I went to James Madison University and got my master's in college student personnel administration. And so while there, I had an assistantship in residence life there. So I was able to still take what I like to say I took a piece of CNU with me because every time I was walking around campus, the main thing people kept saying was, you're different. And I was like, what do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean I'm different? And they were like, it's something about you. Like, you're so intentional. And to be honest, I credit that to CNU. Naturally, I'm an intentional person, but I just think being a part of residence life here and being immersed within the experience, like I had the opportunities to be so intentional. I love the small school feel, but it's small enough each day to where you can see a familiar face, but still big enough to where you can meet someone new. And I believe really that student's first aspect is what was a part of residence life. And I took that with me. So for me, it was really just my time that I had here where I really felt like I found my sense of belonging. I was able to come into a space, honestly, where I didn't see many people that looked like me. And for me personally, it was more so of, okay, just because I may not see individuals that look like me does not mean I don't belong. Let me just go ahead and create this space so others can see they do belong. And that was something for me that I loved being a part of and being able to pave the way in that regard. And I'm happy to see that there are more individuals coming up now to be RAs, but then even more students maybe going back to the profession as well too. And that's kind of their come up, their startup of, wow, I met a student affairs professional that told me maybe I should look at this and actually go for it and be a part of the field. So I'm happy where there's some RAs that I even supervise that have gone off to different grad schools. I wrote them different recommendations as well to give back to the field and get their masters.
Yeah, I think anybody who's been in res life and has gone through RA training knows you bring the energy, the
I try
warmth,
my best.
the belonging. You bring all that to RA training.
Yeah, thank you.
Who couldn't with the amazing themes that RA training has year after year made? I assume mostly by you.
So
with the enthusiasm you bring.
You should have. So it's in collaboration. I will say, I'm more so of the brains behind the logistics, getting things moving. Okay, what campus partners do we need? What are going to be those things that the resident assistants need to know? But when it comes to the theme, yes, I have a little collaboration, a little influence, but mostly it's up to my colleagues. We're coming together to think about, okay, what are we thinking? So this past year was one of my favorite themes, the Olympics. Yeah. And then last year we had High School Musical.
Avengers.
No. Oh, no? We had Avengers.
Yes.
Okay, but the year before that was High School Musical.
I wouldn't know.
Oh, wait, Andrew, hold on.
I was a mid-year hire.
That's right. Yeah. So but it's fun and different. I love my chants. So I love creating a different chants and everything. So yeah, that's always fun.
So do you want to talk a little bit about RA applications being out?
Oh, absolutely. See, look, I thought y'all was going to say it, but I'm glad y'all let me. So with this, one of the things that I just want to say I'm excited about, and actually we'll look over here, is that we currently are hiring for our 2025 to 2026 resident assistants. So right now, all students that are interested, now of course being an undergrad student and at least a full-time student, right now the application is open on Handshake. So you can go right to Handshake and apply. The application is going to be open December 17th until 11:59 p.m. Now, one of the main things, I'm giving a key thing right now, okay, coming to you, is please make sure that you submit your resume on Handshake and complete the Google form that's embedded in the job posting. We want to make sure that you have a complete application, and honestly, it takes you less than 15 minutes to apply. So please just make sure that you complete both of those so you can have a full application, and we look forward to you being interested in the position.
Are there any specific majors, specific personality types? What do you look for for RAs?
I think one of the things for me that I think about personally, and then within our department, is that there's no, what we like to say is like, there's no cookie cutter RA. There's not a specific person or type of individual that we're looking for. A lot of times it's really like, it's on the spectrum. And what I mean by that is, on one end, we can have someone that's very heavily involved on campus. They are the president of everything. They have been in every single club, and they're only a first year student. And we're like, hold on, how is that even possible, right? But then we can go on the other end where this may be their first time getting involved on campus. And they're like, hey, I want to kind of see what is it like maybe to step up and be a student leader on campus. And this is my first involvement that I want to have. We are not looking for students where they need to be heavily involved. We're also not looking for students that have ever had a job before. Sometimes this may be someone's first job here on campus. So with it, it's not a certain type of student that we're looking for. Honestly, what we're looking for is someone that shows up authentically as them. We're looking for an individual that is ready to be involved and potentially be a part of something that's bigger than themselves, that they recognize and can consider other individuals, because yes, there will be moments and times where you're needing to care for others. You need to support them and also hold them accountable sometimes, but also recognizing too that they have that support through that. We go through an extensive training. So a lot of times we may have people applying and like, I don't know anything. That's okay. We're going to train you and make sure that you're ready for the role and to be successful. So that's what I would say what we would be looking for. But you can be any major. The main thing is just making sure that you're able to meet the eligibility criteria that's detailed out on Handshakes. When you're reading the job description, you can see those things there. But there's not anything specific that's going to give you a one-up or anything. We want to make sure that we're being very open and welcoming to others.
So you're telling me I don't need to read the student handbook 3 times through to be a
Absolutely.
perfect RA?
That's what I'm telling you. You're probably the only student on campus that'll do that. So,
Yeah. I applied from a flyer I saw on the next to an elevator in JR.
Nice.
I think that was the winter of right around this time, sophomore year. And, I didn't know if I'd be a good fit, but I knew that it was a great opportunity. It's a great thing to put on a resume. Room and board's real nice too.
Yep.
But it's been a great experience, and probably more than I thought it was going to be. Like it's given back more than I thought it was going to be in terms of the skills I developed and that kind of thing.
Nice.
So I would definitely recommend that you guys apply.
Absolutely.
Now,
I was about to say, am I able to ask y'all a question?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Sure.
because with you talking about that, Wyatt, one of the things I would love to hear from y'all, and just what is a highlight for you that maybe you didn't know until you got in the role?
Do you want to start?
No, I was hoping you'd start.
okay.
You gotta think.
No, I think that I wasn't sure. Obviously, I was super excited to be able to go on East Campus and work with upperclassmen, but it's kind of worked out this way that I've become super friendly and pretty close with a lot of my residents. A lot of times when you're in the job, when you're over on East Campus, you'll kind of hear, well, you might not be able to reach out to a lot of your residents. People are in there, set in their ways. They have their routine once they're upperclassmen. They're not going to want to interact with their RA a ton. But actually, we have a really active group me.
Correct.
We're constantly, if somebody needs something, you have 3 other people on the floor willing to help out. A lot of people are involved in the same clubs. A lot of people, I just end up walking to class with a lot of my residents. And so it's been really fun to strengthen all those connections and kind of make friends that way.
Yeah, well, for me, I think the biggest thing, when I was told that I'd be working in York, I think a lot of people were like, oh, geez, you're working with freshmen? And I really wanted to work with freshmen when I had applied. I like the idea of being kind of like an older brother. I'm the oldest of 3 myself, so it's nice to be able to be a mentor to some. But I did get that feeling that I was like, oh, geez, these guys, they have no idea what they're doing. They're coming into seeing you completely blind. And in York specifically, they're honor students, so they're the go-getters. They want to know what to do on campus. And PLP, yeah. And so they're the ones who are like, you think they're going to be the biggest load on you, when in terms of what you're doing. And I've had the complete opposite experience, I feel like, since being an RA. I think York is honestly really easy to work with. The residents like to keep themselves out of trouble, I think. And so even the slightest hey guys, the RA am on the hall, they're kind of like, oh, okay, well, let's make sure, we're following policies to a T. But I think I actually have the opposite, where I feel like my group me does not get the attention that I think I was expecting, which I've learned is a great thing. Sometimes it is nice to know that I don't have residents banging down my door at 10 p.m. going, Andrew, I need something. Andrew, I need something. And I would love to help them if they ever did. But it is nice to know that first year students are not as helpless as some people like to think they are.
I do think there are a lot, and this kind of goes to both of our answers, that there are a lot of assumptions made about the role.
Yes.
That most times don't come to fruition. Most times it's a pretty relaxed, pretty steady, pretty enjoyable job. It's not this big scary thing where you need to be the cop on the hall.
Correct.
You're there to help your students and provide resources for them.
Right. And well, I thank y'all for answering the question. And that was the main reason why I asked that, is I think a lot of times people have this preconceived notion where they think it's one thing, because I feel like a lot of times we're known for the polo and then our Res Life knock of like knocking on the door and just saying Res Life. But it's
I had
more
to practice that one a lot.
Right.
Really, to get that one down.
But it's more to us than just that. Like, we are human beings in these roles. And I think for me, that's the great thing about it, where you can be able to see there's so much more to the experience than just maybe what you know or think you know. And so it's like, talk to your RA or talk to another RA, or even stop by our residential suite, or not residential, our DSU suite where our office is, and be able to talk to someone in our central office about the position. But I'm glad at the fact y'all were able to highlight those things, and that's been your experience. And you're kind of, in my opinion, debunking the myths of what people may think. And so I'm glad that y'all are having those experiences. So.
I do think, I didn't mean to cut you off. I do think that people also forget that you're not working as an RA completely alone. There are so many people
100%.
who are with you step by step. For York, we have 16 total RAs. So 15 other people you can ask before you have to ask anybody who can get you in trouble about a question. And then you've got a boss, and then another boss, and then finally, the central office.
What we like to say is we have many levels of support.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, there are about 10 different people you can call. And most of us will call all of them.
Right. At any time of day.
Yeah.
Any time of day or night.
Now, we've been talking about all the great things you do with Res Life, but you did literally an hour before taping this announce something very special. Did you want to go ahead and announce that for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say with it, I was able today to share with our department, share with our student staff, the Division of Student Affairs, all around campus. But I will still be remaining here at CNU, but I'm excited that I'll be starting in a new position, working in our institutional compliance and Title IX office. I will be the Assistant Director and Deputy Title IX Coordinator.
Well, congratulations. We are very excited for you. We are going to be sad to not see you at RA training anymore, but are you still going to show up?
Why, absolutely. That's an annual required training for you all. We will be there.
You should know that if you...
It's okay. It's okay.
I meant she's not
Why is the first time RA? It's okay. She's not
running it. I know the day, but
there will still be collaboration. So yes, I will. I'm not going to miss RA training.
Okay,
you will see me again.
That was more just confirmation.
You were testing me.
Yes. With that, we thank you for coming on the podcast. You've been great. And join us in our next episode, and we'll be seeing you on the lawn. Thanks, guys.
And I have a clue in this pocket. Did I put it? There it is. Okay, wait. All right. Sorry. I've got small pockets.
Incentivizes people to launch it.
The $100.
Okay. So I was told by our production team again to read a clue.
Because we forgot again.
Because I forgot again.
We were talking about some great stuff.
It was good. Keontae, would you like to read this week's
absolutely.
clue? Okay.
Yeah.
I hope I didn't crinkle it too much.
Okay. So do I need to look at the camera?
Sure.
I think that would help.
So at CNU, where a fountain lies, one of the three will hold the prize. Search with care, winnings you'll see. One fountain hides your mystery.
And there's $100 on the line again. $100 cash.
Again on the line.
Again, I'm upset that I can't compete for this, but that sounds like a lot of Einstein's, not Starbucks,
a lot of
Chick-fil-A,
A lot of Chick-fil-A.
Laundry. We're about to go.
Mine's covered.
That's
ours is
same here. All right. Well, thank you so much, Keontae.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Okay.
All right.
Great.
That was it.
Cool.
Good.